today does mark an important day in the astronomical and astrological calendar, and that is, of course, Spring Day. It is, in fact, the beginning of spring as we speak. Not, of course, on the 1st of December, as commercial authorities might have you follow, or perhaps we can more kindly call it civic spring. Starts on the 1st of spring here, 1st of September here in the Southern Hemisphere. But more importantly for us, this is the real spring, the beginning of the sign Libra. The sun going into the sign Libra is what spring is really all about. So it is indeed time for a look at the month ahead. Just picking up from where we've been going over the last little while, and that is with the ongoing shenanigans in the ANC government, the ANC itself, of President Jacob Zuma and his acolytes, etc. So looking at the chart for the month ahead, it looks like some things are finally beginning to reach a peak. So you'll remember when I spoke about the cabinet reshuffle earlier this year, before it happened, and how it would highlight two other periods during the year. Well, the first of those is October. In fact, the third period is only next year, and more about that in a moment. So October is the second highlight of that. It looks like a very intense time for the ruling party during this next month. We might only know about it because of the efforts of the press, and which we know that are a little bit frustrated half the time. So how much we know about what's really going on inside the ANC is limited as it is, and especially over the next month. There are unmistakably signs of insurrection going on. They have been on and off for the last year already, and they're reaching a peak again during this next month. The same is true for Jacob Zuma himself, and so we probably won't know about it. There's certainly ongoing behind the scenes issues with him and the party, and he might be ready to pull another surprise move during the course of this next month, early October or into October 2017 sometime. It does look like he still has a few more surprises up his sleeve, and we might yet see some of that next year. Kind of depending on exactly what does happen in October is what's going to inform us about what happens in March, April. But the next big shake in the ANC and in the country a bit is March, April of next year, following on from the ANC shenanigans that we're talking about. So we shall see how the activities of the president affect that, and it might just relate to the ANC making some big changes finally after the elective conference of December and the ensuing developments in the party and the country. So it looks like we're still on very uncertain and changing ground, and all I can really say is hang on to your hats, because there are a good few surprises still in store, and we will be seeing some of those very soon, or relying on the press to reveal them to us, because there is so much going on behind the scenes. Even when I have a look at what's going on in South Africa as a country, and never mind the ANC per se, right now, the strongest things that show in South Africa's own chart the sensitivity and vulnerability to the shenanigans of the government. So in many ways, astrologically, the government has the country in its grip. And the face of the country is not so much about the people in the country, not even so much about the economy per se, or whatever this country has to offer the world or itself. It's really about what the ANC does. The next month shows severe dents on South Africa's international image. Hopefully that comes partly as a result of some more leaks being exposed. But at any rate, it still looks like we as a country are being severely affected by what the ANC is getting up to. So we can hope that this next month of surprises helps us in the long run. Still doesn't look good economically, but that's not new. That is an existing pattern that has gone on for many months now, and you will have heard me speaking about in those months. So in the meanwhile, do what you can to do the best of you, and let us maybe as South Africans try and be the best South Africans we know how to be, and maybe that improves our image in the world, because ANC government ain't helping it one little bit. So always a good reason to move away from politics and get to what's much more important. And of course, that's you and me. Starting with the cardinal signs, Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. This is time to kind of lay low. Just get away, get behind the scenes, get out of everything that's happening, because you've probably had enough. So if you manage to get away, that'll be so much the better for you. But retreating into your own space, operating from behind the scenes, keeping away from your engagements and arrangements as far as possible, all of those are the way that you are going to navigate this month the best. So keep out of it. There are some unexpected changes going on. Some initiatives that you take won't really work out, or might just happen a lot more slowly with greater difficulty than you think. So why waste the effort? It's almost like the world is turned against you a little bit, but not really in a bad way, because nothing bad's going on. It's just not really happening in a big way. So why not just lay low? For Aries, you might have been having it hard for the last little while, and you really do need to get away and take that break that I've been referring to. It might seem as if there's very little you can do about almost anything that's going wrong, and some of what this month is all about for you, Aries, is accepting it, grinning and bearing it, as they say in the old-fashioned difficult language. But nevertheless, you don't have to grin, but bear it you are going to have to do, simply because there's nothing you can do about what's happening right now, and that is a release. There's nothing you have to do. There's nothing you have to get right. All you've got to get right is stepping back and letting it unfold on its own. There are issues with minor details and lots of other little issues that are annoying little things that you wanted to move on from, that right now other people are bringing up and pulling you back, and all of that is beginning to be a little bit unsettling for you, but you just need to play along. There's the grin and bear it part of it. Better would be to keep to yourself, keep to your own goals and things where other people rely on you and depend on you as far as possible, putting that off till a little bit later when you can actually engage with difficult people, because I think people are just going to be getting on your nerves this month, and that's a damn fine reason to be spending more alone, quiet time, those kind of things, all for your own benefit for a change. Cancerians might be feeling a little bit oversensitive. You are the most sensitive of all the signs anyway. But right now, you could be feeling that your feelings are not being recognized. It's about what someone else wants, what others want. Others seem to be expecting and demanding stuff of you, but not really showing much appreciation or gratitude. You might even feel a little bit like, never mind being taken for granted, but you're treated almost as if you're a servant around this place. And if you aren't, you need to kind of wind that back a little bit and realize you'd be better off just sticking to yourself. This is not a time to assert your own goals and demand and take leadership, because that just isn't going to work. They truly are not hearing you right now. That also means this is not a time to really get upset about it and start getting involved in emotional stuff. Rather, just as far as possible, disentangle yourself and make sure that you are not working outside the bounds of your appointment letter, your contract, or whatever the definition of what you should be doing is all about. Some of you need to be paying attention to old health issues or things that have appeared in your life because you're feeling just a bit too run down. And so getting some time off and re-engaging with yourself is also a great opportunity to get back on top of your health. When it comes to Librans, boy, could you use a break right now. And it's your birthday, so it's a perfect time to be doing that. You deserve it. You deserve a holiday after the break, all of those kind of things, because you have been slaving away. Not that it really looks like it's going to go any less all on its own. So that might be something that you have to take in hand. While on the whole, this is not a good time to be taking the initiative for most things, and you'll find that many of your own initiatives actually fall flat. Nevertheless, when it comes to taking the initiative about drawing some boundaries and not getting caught up in everyone else's everything, it would seem, that initiative is going to work. Be aware that you might get accused of being too fussy at the moment, or too particular, or too demanding. If you're working with a group of people in any way, unless you're the boss or the leader, you're going to have to be really careful about that. But of course, if you are the boss or the leader, it might still be worthwhile just taking a pause to think about, what is their criticism all about? Are you being too much of a perfectionist or something like that? Or you're not really showing what you really, really care about. Show them what you really care about, and then you'll find they perform according to the standards that you would expect and demand. That can make your overall feeling of being bogged down a little bit lighter. For Capricorns, you're the ones who really need to be taking a holiday. Don't know if you're going to manage that very much at this time, but nevertheless, if you can stay away or involve yourself in something absolutely different and absolutely new, that's the great way for Capricorns to take their break at the moment. This is a great time for traveling, but if you could learn something new, or it seems as if there's something that you've always wanted to do, that this could actually be an opportunity to finally get to do, to study the thing that you've always wanted to study, or something that's been on the back burner for quite some time. So this is an opportunity to make it actually happen, make it work for yourself. But you've got to be very careful not to get drawn into some big project that isn't yours. Remember, this is the time for holding back and sitting back and taking a back seat. That won't stop other people demanding of you, and it looks like you might have a little bit of a lesson to learn with someone who is a little bit accustomed to depending on you and your resources. Learning to say no, and learning to be a little bit more circumspect about who you give what to could be an important lesson that is learned with difficulty this month, but has got lasting consequences that are good. And since it's a great time for learning, that's a great thing to do while you're behind the scenes. The fixed signs, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, well, you guys look as if you've been leaving too much to chance and not paying too much attention to enough of what's really been happening. Things have been left unfinished, and you've missed some opportunities or some avenues that could have worked much better for you. You actually just need to tighten up your act at the moment. Pay attention to what's going on, because some changes need to be made. You're the one that needs to be taking the initiative, although it won't always be easy. Dealing with other people is going to be a little bit of a struggle for many of you this month, but for the most part, that initiative is going to work. Bottom line, fixed signs, concentrate on the absolute basics. What's going on at home, what's going on at work, what's going on in your relationship life. That's where you need to plug a few leaks so that you don't feel taken advantage of, or so that you aren't actually taken advantage of. Taurus, you are going to have to step up this month. You're a little bit kind of in the spotlight, and people are expecting and demanding a lot from you, and you're kind of not really in a position to refuse or to avoid in any way. What is important to know, though, is that you should not feel too pressured at this time. There are warnings in your chart about making small errors due to too much pressure and worrying about the small stuff. And in general, the lesson of this month is not to worry too much about the small stuff. There are important things you need to do. People are relying on you, and they are trusting you, and actually just relax into that. You don't have to make sure that every little I is dotted and every little T is crossed. That's sometimes good advice. Right now, that isn't the important point. Clearly, from your chart's point of view, it so does not look like you're about to make any major errors with regards to anything that you don't need to be paying too much attention. This is a month to step back, look at the bigger picture, ask yourself, what exactly is my role in it? How much should I do is expected of me? And then really just stick to that. People appreciate you for your talents right now. Trust that it's talent. You don't have to actually work that hard. You were born this way. You can do what you do because you were born that way. And maybe you need to trust yourself a little bit more and really enjoy it. If there's anyone who knows how to enjoy their talent, that would be Leos. And Leos are all about that this month. But this is a month to bring it back home. So if you're the kind of Leo whose talents are creative, then we really are talking about where you started. Get back to your roots, get back to what your core creativity is all about. If it's not about the arts per se or arts and crafts per se, that core creativity refers to basic things that you were born able to do, that seem to come so naturally to you that other people are amazed. They don't have to be artistic skills. They could be skills of any kind. They could just be a particular talent for a particular type of work, just doing what you come naturally. But the challenge this month is to rewind back to one and see where it started. The important lesson this month is that you were born with a gift that you're not necessarily using. If you're having difficulties or troubles in your life, maybe that's where you need to get back to make it work for you a little bit better. What kind of difficulties or troubles? Well, there's no real sign of those. I do have to say that I'd expect you to be having a better month than most people right now, but that's also because sticking at home, sticking to your own stuff and sticking to what you know best makes you strong and makes you comfortable. Get strong and comfortable now. That's what's going to make the month quite a pleasant one for Leos. Scorpios are looking at relationship matters, and there could be some issues going on in relationship matters that are beginning to take over the relationship a little bit. Also, a great time to be stepping back and seeing what's really going on here. The smaller details and the niggly little things that you're now beginning to trip over and blame each other about, and the small stuff that used to be so cute and funny and not so important is suddenly annoying the hell out of you. All of that can stand in the way of what could really be a great time for your relationship. Your chart is showing great passion this month, great opportunities to do stuff together, to rebond. So your mission for the month is look at what's bugging you in your relationship. Look at what's bugging your partner in the relationship. Try and look at how that small stuff that's getting in the way of the more important, bigger stuff, and see how you can actually create some common goals and bring out some of the fun and pleasure and passion that you remember from the early days. What if you're not in a relationship? Does none of that apply to you? It all applies to you. All your important one-to-one relationships can benefit from opportunities to bring new bonding together out of fun shared experience. But very importantly, wherever in any relationship, you can look at yourself and realize there's lots of small things getting in the way. You can make all aspects of your social life a lot better if you just don't sweat the small stuff. And when it comes to Aquarians for this month, well, this is a time that you've really got to go out there in the world. You've really got to make your goals happen. But Aquarians, it does look like you're heavily dependent on others at the moment, and there is no way out of that. So don't feel shy, don't hold back on that. It's important right now that actually your best resources come from other people. Maybe your only resources come from other people. In fact, what you need to be careful of perhaps is not getting into a situation where you're unintentionally exploiting others. And unintentionally simply means you're not giving feedback. You know, one of the things about Aquarians is that they kind of exist a little bit in a higher dimension on their own and often feel aloof and distant and detached when all that's happening is they're thinking away madly up here and they're not communicating down here. So as difficult as it is for you, it's time to speak up, speak out, give feedback, say what's going on, say if you feel exploited, and more importantly, say, is this okay for you? Is this enough for you? Or anything like that lets you make sure that you are on even ground with other people so that they don't think that you're taking advantage of them. But this is a great time for cooperative relationships because your goals are going forward. For the mutable signs, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius and Pisces, this is a going ahead month too, but with a little bit of circumspection. You need to look at what's been happening over the last month and advance yourself to the next step, advance yourself to the next spot on the board, because it looks like there will be opportunities to take something further or to get something to the next level. So this is the month to challenge yourself to do that. It might not look that easy simply because nothing is forcing or pushing some kind of action that you're probably going to have to come up with yourself, but that shouldn't be too difficult at this time. Important thing is that action is going to lead to results, but action should be strategic action. It's not about fresh initiative, it's about capitalizing on what's gone before. Concentrate on that, and this month can really work for you. Geminis could really be seeing results because this is a money month for you. Your financial situation's looking great, and if you play your cards right, by the end of the month it's looking even greater, and that's because of capitalizing on what's gone before. That also means this is a good time to be collecting on money that people owe you, or any kind of whatever might be owed to you. All of that's going to help the financial situation, as well as generating income based on your own ideas. It seems as if people have liked what you're doing so far, or you've managed to get away with what you're doing so far. So time to level up. Taking it to the next level means using your own ideas. If you need to make people cooperate with your ideas or be inspired by you, show what you are really passionate about, Geminis. This is the month for that. You can be very convincing or persuasive right now, and that can really make things happen. The problem is you lose interest and patience too quickly. So concentrate on being very patient this month. That is going to make all the difference in making sure you make it to the end richer than you were before. For Virgos, some of the same applies. Not that Virgos are so much about money at the moment, but it is very much about what you're passionate about and really going forward about with what you're passionate about. For a while, there's been some doing what you have to do rather than you want to do. There's been lots of hard work expended without that much coming in, but now you can take things to another level by finally getting on with what you like and what you do best. Not from fresh, as I've said a few times, based on what's gone before. So even if you've been working on something that feels like you're doing it for someone else and it's their stuff, not your stuff, or any of those kind of things, even still, now's the time to introduce your stuff. So you cooperated with them for a while, now they can cooperate with you for a while, and they are going to find it in their favor to do so. That persuasiveness and ability to be convincing should be capitalized on while you can. Anywhere where you need to get your own way, or where you need to make yourself clearly heard and clearly understood, that means now is the time to actually do that. It's working for you. You're at your best. And Virgos at their best often means everyone benefits around them. But remember, in this case, as long as you're doing what really you're passionate about. Sagittarians this month can benefit because of what's been going on in their partners' lives, whether that's romantic partners or business partners or whatever. So the whole theme for the mutable signs has been following on from what's gone before, and in the case of you Sagittarians, that is referring to things that have been in partnership or that have literally been done or given to you by the partner. A little bit like a relay match. Something has been passed on to you from someone close to you, or someone that you're in business with, or something like that, and now's the time to make it your own and to run with it. And that you can do. Making it your own means giving it some fresh ideas, which you should be full of, but at the same time realizing this is about a partnership. So it's not time to be thinking too much about own personal goals or own special talents or those kind of things which the other mutable signs have gotten to think about. You really need to think about, there's someone who's depending on me, who's made it easier for me, who's passed stuff on to me, but I could take this to a whole new level so that not only I benefit, but they benefit as well. So that's how you can really make it work. This is the time to take something that was passed on to you and make it for the benefit of both of you. For Pisces often would say it's never quite that easy to know what I should be doing or exactly what I should be focusing on. And although you often get accused of being the confused sign, the confusion is often because you're taking other people into account way too much or being affected by them way too much. So this month, you're meant to be benefiting from them, and you can do that in a financial fashion as well. It does look like the financial situation at work and money from work is on the increase, but there's an interesting little caveat that also appears in the Pisces chart, and that says you might either be being taken advantage of or not paying enough attention to realize what benefits could be coming to you. Worst case scenario, you've got the wool pulled over your eyes. Best case scenario is that you might just not be looking in all the right places. So make sure you're in there, demanding what's yours, getting what's yours, checking. So go back, check on promises made to you. Those are the kind of things you can call in. And especially start off by thinking of, what do I really want? What do I really need right now? Because actually it's coming along to fulfill what you really need. Time to do it for yourself, Pisces. Well, it does look like that could be quite a good month for most of us. I mean, even where there's a bit of challenge, it does look like most people are ending off the month kind of better in some way, in some personal way, better than it started. Remember that next week, of course, I will be back as usual with a fascinating interview. So like the Facebook page to stay in touch, stay tuned, and I'll see you right here next week.